Becoming is better than being, and that's precisely why we consider ourselves to always be a work in progress. It means that you are never complete, and I always have the opportunity to become something and someone better.
It allows you the ability to be comfortable with making mistakes and accepting yourself for who you are.
Yes, we are a work in progress. Hi, I'm AX.
I am GK.
And I'm your boy, Chris M.
Welcome to the show. Chris M, I love the energy. And the reason I love the energy today, and I'm not going to fight the energy, is because today, Work in Progress is celebrating 100 episodes. 100 episodes. We've been here every week for the last
100 episodes.
100 episodes. I'm not going to do the mathematics. I'll invite the mathematics department to do that.
You have a math
So,
department?
yes, internally.
They're new.
So now that we've talked about that, it's good that this is the episode that we're going to learn a bit about each other, that like we do every few months, just to help people understand what inspires us.
Yes.
And so we have the segment, What Inspires You?
Okay.
So here you can choose a person, a poem, a song, anything that inspires you, and or something you believed in the past, and talk about it. So we'll start with you, AX.
Why is it? Okay, fine.
Ladies first.
All right, so I have actually two people that inspire me. Actually, technically it's three. So the first is Vincent. The first is Vincent van Gogh, and for no other
the
reason.
one who cut off his ear.
Yes, yes.
That's the only reason I know him.
Wow, Vincent van Gogh is one of my favorite painters. Some of my favorite works from him include Starry Night, the Sunflower series, Pink Peach Tree and Blossom. He just has a way with depicting motion in painting and like still life visual art that makes the painting really come alive. But more so than that for me is the fact that Vincent also went through some mental health issues and he really tried to pour it out through his art. And I just find it incredibly fantastic that while his mental health issues are what ultimately led to his death, he kept on fighting, he kept on persevering, and he was able to create something beautiful as a result of it. Then my next 2-in-1 combo is Hank and John Green. I'm sure you guys know them. John Green from The Fault in Our Stars.
No idea who you're talking about.
Yeah, do you know the book?
I know that.
That's also a lie. That's okay. I'll be honest.
So the reason I like them is not so much for their, I guess, the professional accomplishments, but for their work on YouTube. Like they're the guys that started VidCon. They like one of their channels is one of my favorite ever. It's called Crash Course, and they have a bunch of different playlists.
They give like history,
literature, biology. There's one on Black history that's come out. And the thing that inspires me the most about them is how much they believe in the power of education and how they've tried to make it as accessible for everyone as possible. Which is really great.
Okay, that one I like because number one,
not Vincent van Gogh.
No, the other one. I like them because as people of the new society, sort of, we have become very accustomed to getting information quick and on the go. And the Crash Course sort of guys, they give you good education, good knowledge very fast, and that's how we move. So, Chris M, what inspires you?
It's not what but who. There's this gentleman by the name of Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Hey,
Yes.
boy.
Those who know me know that I love wrestling a lot. And growing up, he was the main guy. Him alongside another guy called Stone Cold.
See Boston.
Yes. So this guy, let me give you a bit of history.
Okay.
Growing up, his grandfather was a wrestler. His father was a wrestler, and so with wrestling, they travel a lot. So what the father did is he took the family and took them to Hawaii. So they grew up in Hawaii. But then there were some problems, the money problems here and there. So sometimes they'd go home, find their house is padlocked and all that. So The Rock at 16, he realized that. In Hawaii, there's like a street where the rich people and tourists go and buy their things from all the designer wear and all that. So him and some guys, they went there and they were now robbing the tourists so that they could get a bit of something to,
I didn't know that.
to
survive. But then the guy was big. He was born a big guy. So in high school, he went to Florida. Then they moved back to mainland America. So he went to Florida. He played his football there, American football there. He was taken by Florida University. I think he played there as well. He graduated with a degree in criminology and some other good stuff.
Really, he graduated.
He graduated. He's a smart guy.
That's what surprises you.
That's what surprises
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
He's a smart dude.
Smart people don't always graduate. Anyways.
Okay. So once he was done with college, he wanted to go and join the NFL. But
The National
American
Football
National
League.
Football League, yeah, for American football in America. But none of the team wanted him. But he was very adamant. He wanted to play football.
Yeah.
So he went and played in the Canadian Football League. But he has roots in Canada. His father is Canadian. He's born in Canada and all that. So he has roots there. So he went to Canada. There's a team that took him up. But they only kept him on for 2 months.
Oh.
Then they cut him. So by the time he was being dropped, this was around 1995, he said, and he's even quoted saying this, he looked at his wallet and he only had $7 at the dollars, right? He had a $5 bill, $1 bill, and some change. And he's quoted saying, I'll read the quote, I don't want to mess it up. He said, he once checked it and saw that he only had $7. This is what he said. He knew that he was broke, and one day, he wouldn't be broke.
Nice.
That's what he said. I'm broke right now, but one day I will not be broke. He went and joined the WWE where his father used to work. A lot of things happened. He became he's arguably one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
But even after that, he left wrestling and went into Hollywood. His movies right now globally they've grossed over $10 billion.
Whoa, okay.
He's one of the highest grossing actors
Earning, yeah.
and one of the best earners in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Now, to tie this whole thing into a nice ribbon, he opened up a production company, and he called it $7 Production.
Ah, nice.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
So
cute.
it's a nice callback to when he was
Yeah.
broke, and now being one of the wealthiest people in the world. That's a nice story for me, for you, for those guys living in the mtaa and all that.
Yeah.
You can come out of that as long as you have the will and you put in the work.
You know the story I took from The Rock is his ability to morph into new professions.
Yes.
Number one, clearly the universe was telling him this sports thing is a
not-
lie.
It's not for you, yeah,
Move
yeah.
on. And many of us get stuck on what we expect as our parents or what others expect us to be good at, and we refuse to make that transition. And sometimes you have to be really broke to actually move to what you actually
You
call
have to have nothing.
Nice
to
catch.
do
3.
something.
He played football,
Then?
sports entertainment,
Then
and now as an actor.
acting.
So I think, this is not going to come across looking well because I'm the only woman at the panel and I'm going to be saying this. But the thing I like the most about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is that given his size, you'd expect him to be mean and harsh and just not a nice guy. But he's a really nice guy. Like I follow him on Instagram and he regularly posts videos with his daughter and they're so wholesome and they're so nice. They make me feel good about myself. That's why I like him.
Oh yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that I understand why you were afraid.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's a very feminine argument to make, and it's just how I know him.
So for me, it wasn't a person, but it's something that I read almost every day.
Okay.
Every day.
I'm someone who always looks for inspiration, not always finding it. But one thing that I was given to by my grandfather and to the people in my space was a poem. It's called "If" by Rudyard Kipling.
Okay.
It sort of gives you guiding principles as to how to live. Of course, it was written long ago, so it is directed to the
white
male
man.
species, but not to the white man, to the male species. But I wanted to read for you guys the first stanza and the last stanza, so you can see why it inspires me. Okay.
Okay.
It'll be written there. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, yet don't look too good and don't talk too wise. Then the final stanza was, if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Okay.
So he's basically telling you that as you progress or as you move forward, keeping what makes you whole, if you can be with people and not let that be go to your head. There's a lot of inspiration that I get from that poem. So I'd like all of you guys to read that poem every day. Look for it. It's "If" by Rudyard Kipling. It's very good to help you move forward in your lives.
I think the most important thing about that poem is that in order for you to be able to do all those things, you need to have a very strong understanding of who you are and what your place is in the world. And because I think the thing it said, if you can walk with crowds and keep your virtue, that demands that you know exactly who you are and what you're about.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a really good message to give to them.
So yeah, so that's what inspires me. So what we'll do is we'll take a break right now. Then after the break, we'll talk about the next segment. Welcome back to Work in Progress. So now for the next segment, we are going into our segment Hot Take. But this time, I'm the one holding the reins to the hot take. And I don't really have a hot take. What I do have is what GK is always good at. I have a hot question, okay?
Okay.
So this is the question for you guys, and you guys can take it wherever you want to go with it. We're going to have a discussion around it, okay?
Okay.
So, are the sins of the father applicable to the son? Basically, my question is, should the son feel guilty for the previous experiences or for the previous mistakes made by the father or parents? Should guilt be inherited? What do you guys think about that?
For me, the answer is no.
Why?
Simple. Those were his mistakes. Those were his whatevers.
But what if you benefited from them in the present?
Too bad. So right now, let me give you this example.
Okay.
Say my father is the president of this country. He has done a lot of good for this country. And then when I grow up, I become a useless human being. I do some nonsense. Am I supposed to benefit from the clout of my father? Or am I supposed to be judged by the nonsense that I'm doing right now?
The answer is yes.
What?
Yes to what?
No, the answer is yes, because we live in a world in which what's it called? Your parents' experiences and your parents' connections materially benefit your professional life when you get into the working world.
Okay.
And so yes, like you will benefit from the clout that your dad got as president, but you will also be judged for the nonsense because that clout will open the door, but your nonsense will close them.
Fine. If my parents misbehaved, fine. I'm a child of a misbehavior, or if there's such a thing.
No.
I'm a child of someone
Parents
who
misbehave.
Yes. But judge me on what I'm doing right now. Biblically, it used to be like that.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
And that's why Jesus came back
Amen.
and had a new covenant with us. So
Hallelujah.
the New Testament says, to each their own, I mean not like that, but everyone will carry their own cross, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So my father, carry your own cross. I'll carry my own cross. My children will carry their own cross. Don't saddle me with the mistakes or with the misdoings of my parents.
So, Chrisam, with that point in mind, now if I was to sort of expand it beyond the individual and look at how colonialism was embraced in the country.
This is where I shine.
The British came, they did wrong things. They massacred a number of people, especially with the Kikuyu, with the state of emergency, if you're looking at the Kenyan context. Should their grandchildren, who are now the ones at the helm, be responsible for what their grandparents believed and what their grandparents practiced? Should they carry that responsibility?
Okay. So
No.
I'll let Aileen go, but I'll just say no, and then let her first go. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Only if we can do two things. The first thing is establish that the actions undertaken in the past were done for the benefit of the current generation in the present, right? And the second thing is if the harm that was done in the past continues to be perpetuated into the present, which is why I will continue to hold the British state responsible for everything that they have done. Not only. Okay, I'll stop here because otherwise I'm gonna.
So when does that end, though? That's the question. 10 generations in?
Reparations. Pay us what you owe. Do you know? Do you want to know how much wealth they extracted from India? $45 trillion worth of wealth was stolen from India. Do you want to know what Britain's current GDP is? It's not 45 trillion, it's far less. It's like 2.
Okay.
It's like 2. Like they extracted more wealth from India than their own economy was capable of making. And yet they don't pay reparations. Even to this day, they have not apologized for anything they've done. All they've said is, we regret the slavery, we regret the colonialism, we regret the famine. I don't want your regret. I want reparations. It's that simple. That is when you can stop saying that the blame extends.
We should change the name of this segment from Hot Take to Hot Responses. That was really
I really tried to just hold it in. I'm really sorry.
Where I agree with you is, for example, Germany and Namibia have been sort of negotiating reparations, which is supposed to be 3 billion euros. And it took Germany years to be able to finally agree that they do need to pay some form of reparations after the genocide that was created to 2 tribes in Namibia in the early 1900s, which basically wiped them out. But now, AX, because you're such a strong believer in the state and in
Not
the
in the
colony,
state.
what about the context of a country you love so much, Haiti? You know, Haiti sort of had the opposite.
Haiti is underdeveloped because France.
One second. Haiti had sort of the opposite situation in which the uprising caused a number of deaths, which makes the Haiti people pay reparations until now. I think maybe they finished, but pay reparations till recently to the French for what they allegedly caused. What do you think about that?
I feel like Chris should speak first because he's been very quiet, and I want to respect that respecting of my opinion.
Okay. What do you think, Chris?
Thank you. I won't answer that one first. Let me go back to the British and these other people, right?
Okay.
No amount of reparations will ever be enough.
It won't.
Lives were lost, lives were damaged, and a lot of suffering. People went a lot through suffering. Yeah? So if they gave us 3 trillion, 100 billion, million, whatever, it will never be enough.
It's not the value
it will
can
never be enough, right? So for me, the British have done something to show us that they were sorry. Now, us,
But they haven't actually said sorry.
Okay.
that's where I was going. Yeah. They may never say sorry. If you know anything about world politics,
States don't apologize.
Right now, if you own a car, you're told, admit no fault, zero liability. If you cause a collision, don't admit anything, right?
Really?
Yeah, you're not supposed to admit anything.
You say nothing. You take
when you get a car,
pictures,
you know that.
Yeah, when I do.
So that happens, yeah. I know recently the British government, the Mau veterans went to the courts over there, and they got something. They were given something. It's not enough, but it's something. My issue with us always holding on to that pain is we will never move on. 7 generations from me, they will blame their
point at
it will always be, you know what, I'm here eating ugali and skuma instead of nyama because of the mzungu. That happened a long time ago. Most of us did not go through it. I never went through it. My mother never went through it. My father never went through it, right? My grandfather did. Now he has that pain.
Yes.
He has that personally, he can feel it, right? For us, let's try to heal amongst ourselves first and not look to them, right? Our grandfathers, they went, they were given something small, whatever. Let the pain go and try and move on. That's the only way we can move forward and heal.
You know,
it starts from within.
When you spoke about, this is a bit of a tangent, but when you spoke about how states don't apologize, what it reminded me is of the United States and Japan. So we all know that during the World War, the United States said enough is enough, and they dropped 2 nuclear bombs in the towns of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yes.
And the Americans have never apologized. In fact, the former president of America, twice removed, Barack Obama, went there once, and I think he got a bit of flack for even bowing his head just a little bit. So it just shows how states are very rigid about what they respond to. They do not admit fault. AX, anything else to say?
Our resident Haiti expert.
I'm not an expert on Haiti, but you do have a point. Like, because it's something that I've often wondered about my own thinking and about the way in which we discuss politics and legacy in Africa. Like, at what point can we stop blaming colonialism for everything that happened? Which is not to say that which is not to say it didn't change almost everything about the way in which we live our lives, because it's true. Which is not to say that colonialism does not continue into the present, because you have things like global capitalism and the exploitation that exists between the global north and the global south. You have the existence of neocolonialism as exists with issues like debt. But fundamentally, at what point can we stop? At what point do we start saying maybe it's time to look within? And try to see if we can solve our own problems our own way, instead of looking to the other guys and being like, hey, fix it for us. You started it, fix it.
Okay.
Start now.
Start now. That's a good place to stop that segment, where we'll move on to our conclusion for the day. And today we're taking it a bit light. It's 100 episodes, so let's take it a bit light. Each of us sort of have heard in the recent past about hilarious or even scary stories to do with animals. And each of us have one story that we're each going to share. So we'll start with AX, then I will go, and then Chris will finally conclude the show.
All right. So, did you guys know that KQ transports monkeys? Like monkeys?
I found out very recently. It was very surprising.
Yeah, I think we all found out at the same time that KQ transports monkeys. And the reason we found out is because KQ said we're going to stop transporting monkeys. So initially what happened was that KQ had a contract to transport monkeys from Mauritius to the US. And those monkeys were going to be used in lab tests. And a bunch of animal rights groups came out and said, why are we testing things on animals? Why don't we use human beings? There's another way of doing this. I don't know. I'm not really versed in science and how the scientific method works. I apologize. But as a result of that backlash, which oddly enough wasn't felt here, I feel like when I saw the news on Twitter, people were making memes, and it was really funny. But KQ basically came out and said, hey, we're not going to be a part of this system anymore. We're not going to do any more Monkey business.
Oh,
Nice.
good job. Wow.
We didn't see that coming.
And they said, we're done, that's it, it's a wrap. And they were praised for it. I was just really surprised that it's easier for a monkey to go from point A to point B than it is for me. That's the issue I take with this entire transport thing.
I was glad that it was Kenya Airways, right? Because had it been a non-African airline,
That would have been worse.
I would have thought they're calling us monkeys. For a very hot minute, I was like, you stopped transporting monkeys. What are you trying to tell us? Yeah, but it's a good thing that it was like KQ. So I even had, I was like, okay, monkeys. Then I looked into
You actually
it.
thought it's actually monkeys. Yeah.
Because no, nowadays, I mean,
There's a
but
lot
it's a
of-
good thing that KQ have stopped doing that, especially because they were taking monkeys from Africa to Americas for tests to be done. Leave our monkeys alone. Let them enjoy the lush forest and nice weather.
But you
Don't do that again.
But
Thank
you know, monkeys can be a problem.
No.
Look at countries like Look at countries like India, or if you're people who don't live in Nairobi, Kabisa, you'll know monkeys can be an issue.
don't know
Because
Yeah, in
Like-
Nyeri, there's something in Nyeri.
yeah, this is in India. You know, they have this rule where they sort of live with the monkeys. They don't kill monkeys. I don't know for what reason. So there's in one of the states there was a pack of wild dogs that went and killed a baby monkey. So you'd think, okay, it's over there, the story is over, finished. No. In December, now the monkeys decided that they're not taking the loss of their loved one by just singing Kumbaya. They're gonna have revenge. So what they did is they would go and steal dogs, not just big dogs. They would steal puppies mostly.
What?
Take them to the roofs of specific nations or trees and do one of two things. The best one is leave you up there and you die of starvation. Number two, take you up there and drop you down to the floor. So guess how many dogs got affected by this?
70.
I don't
Wrong.
know. 100?
More than 250
What?
dogs were killed by retaliating monkeys.
And wait, like this, there was no distinction between the wild dogs and like animal pet
At
companions.
first it was wild dogs, but they sort of just expanded beyond. And then now the funniest thing is, if you read one of the articles, they talk about how 2 of the monkeys were arrested. It's
What?
Yeah, it's murder. It's murder.
But how do you try a monkey?
I think they were arrested by the animal services, but
They're not killing for food, yeah. So
they were not killing for food, so they
just
captured
spite.
2 of the murderous monkeys, and it's caused the whole situation. It's actually funny. Some people are saying that's the third or whatever apocalypse coming down. That monkeys are now standing up against dogs, and as we kill monkeys all the time, does that mean
Planet of
we're
the
putting
Apes,
monkeys
yeah.
in science labs to test them? Does that mean
they're
they'll stand
flying
up
them
and
already.
Your
so.
Planet of the Apes, Planet of the Apes. I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for Planet of the Apes.
So let's move on
Yeah,
to
that's
Chris.
okay.
Kristen.
I'll have 2, but let me focus on one for now. Yeah?
Okay.
For those who don't know, it's the year of the tiger. I think in China or something like that. So happy birthday or happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
whatever.
Happy New Year.
You just tell them everything. so there's a tiger, I think in those Siberian areas. A story is told. It's a true story of 2 guys who went into the wilderness to hunt.
Yeah.
And when they saw a tiger, they shot at it. One of them shot at the tiger, but he didn't kill the tiger. He wounded it. Then they were like, the tiger is gone, so now let's just go back. They're doing that for self-preservation. So they went back home. They did their whatever. He even dropped his gear and went to do some other things. So this whole time, the tiger was tracking him. So the tiger, once it stayed kidogo, got a bit of strength, started following the scent of this guy and followed him until the tiger went back to the cottage where this guy
Was staying.
was domiciled. Yes. What? But this guy wasn't home, so the tiger just chilled.
What?
It just chilled and waited, and waited and waited. When this guy came back, he was mauled by this tiger. So animals have done this revenge thing more than once. And the second part I'll tell you is chimpanzees or baboons. You know animals, they have this thing of when they want to mate, the dominant male takes over and all that.
Yeah.
So the 2 alpha males got into it, and the weaker one was exiled.
Okay.
So this weaker one, he went and got his own troop.
Oh, my
He
goodness.
got his own troop, and what he was doing now, he was attacking the
dominant males.
the dominant male and his troop.
That's how you
and
die.
No, how they did this was just like human beings. They would single out, like if you're 4, you wait until you're like 2 or 1, come and kill that one, then go back.
What?
And then do that until the dominant male was weakened to a point where he was almost alone. Then they came, killed him, and took over his troop.
Whoa.
This is a thing that is documented, I think, by Jane Goodall. She's very big on this monkey thing and monkey activism. So yeah, animals are banding together to do revenge. We've seen that with those baboons,
And
the
the
tiger, and the monkeys.
The monkeys
in
with the
India.
dogs.
So be very careful, my guys.
This doesn't scare you that maybe the age of man is done? Like this doesn't...
No, that makes me believe
This doesn't...
that we evolved. That gives me like, we evolved. Because these things, the way they're behaving human like kabisa.
A little bit. So I think that's where we're going to stop today's episode. Thank you so much for watching Work in Progress. And in celebration of 100 episodes, we're going to end the credits with a few of the
Crazy moments. Over the 100 episodes, right?
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
We are, of course, a work in progress, and my name is PK.
I am GK.
I am Horio.
I am Chris M.
Good to see you guys.
To conclude the show, I'd like to recommend everyone read this book by Joyce Nyairo. It's called Kenya at 50, Trends, Identities, and the Politics of Belonging.
It's a period of blank that you spend by yourself.
Alone time.
Yes, but change the first word.
Individual time.
No. Another word for alone is...
Lonely. Self time. My time.
She's terrible. Takes up again.
If you have an influence state that's legislating morality, people get hurt.
Okay.
The opiate crisis is one. The prohibition movement is another.
But that's the state not interfering. That's what you're saying.
But the state is not interfering because it's been influenced to not interfere.
So you're
we're
saying
the
assuming-
Chinese government is now interfering.
So you're saying that is also wrong.
I have been hit by a car and fallen out of a car.
Hit by a car and fallen out of a car.
Was the car moving?
You people have serious truths. Guys need therapy. Wow.
This is the same day.
Let me just get into it. You say you have gone back to back. Okay, so those happened on two separate occasions. Hit my car. I was just young, running through the Consolata parking lot, like going towards like where my sister was waiting for us, and I was knocked over. But it was like, you know, when you're in a parking lot, you don't really speed, just a bit of a shake.
Well, thank you so much for watching Work in Progress, and we will be here with you like we always are next week.